This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. We are here at the August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Enforcement Oversight Committee. The time now is 9:14 a.m. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Stephanie, would you give us a roll call for attendance, please?
Lori?
Here.
Annie?
Here.
And Kathy?
Here.
All right, meeting attendance is verified. Staff today in attendance, we have Investigator Dan Murphy, Administrative Specialist Stephanie Perkins, and myself, Chad Cook. Let's see, the first order of business today is to approve the Enforcement Oversight Committee meeting minutes from our last meeting. That would be the July 9th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written or any discussion?
I'll move to approve.
And the second? Was that Kathy or Annie?
It was Annie because I was muted.
Got it. Okay. Annie with the second. Stephanie, let's give us a real quick roll call vote.
Yes. Lori?
Yes.
Annie?
Yes.
And Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. And I'm going to pass the meeting over to Dan. He's got several things to talk to you folks about today.
Yes, good morning. I've got 3 cases to present to you today. The first one is, I'll just go in numerical order from the time that we received them moving forward. I'm sorry, chronological order and numerical order as it is in this case. 21-24-81. This was an allegation turned in by Fannie Mae against an appraiser. They didn't like the comparables that she used in terms of their GLA and age. And so examination of the report and the work file revealed areas of concern within the appraisal that warrant improvement in future appraisals to improve the credibility of the assignment results. And so if there are no questions related to this case, we can move to a vote. Anybody have any questions about this case, 21-24-81? No? Okay. Good. I recommend that this case be closed, this allegation report be closed and dismissed by the board, and the appraiser be issued a letter of counsel to the board advising some recommended corrections and improvements in the report.
Do we need a motion or do we just take a vote?
Chad, you're muted, Chad.
So yes, I would say a motion, a second, and then a voting process, just so that we're maintaining consistency.
Okay.
I will motion.
We need to cite the case.
Oh,
Case 21-24-81.
yeah, I will motion that case 21-24-81 is done as recommended.
I'll second.
Perfect.
Okay. Lori?
Yes.
Annie?
Yes.
And Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. The second of 3 cases I have for you today is 21-24-82. The allegation was submitted to the board by a buyer in a potential purchase transaction involving the subject. And so after I examined all of the details and all of the facts in this case, there were some areas identified in the appraisal report and work file that warrant improvement in future appraisals to improve the credibility of the assignment results. And so following my examination of the details, if there are no further questions or if anybody has any questions about this case, I recommend the case be closed following a letter of counsel being issued to the appraiser. Anybody have any questions about this case?
The only question that I had just is a general question. When a complaint is submitted to the board for value issues, are all of those investigated regardless? Even if it's just a value issue?
No, not necessarily. No. The cases are open for further investigation following the original vetting process, as you just noticed, and it doesn't usually have to do with the value conclusion. However, a lot of the cases that get turned in, a lot of the allegations that get turned in are related to the value conclusion. A lot of times someone is not happy because the appraisal value came in relatively low or below the contract price in a purchase. That's the vast majority of the time. And you can see, as in this case here, that was the case. And I had a pretty lengthy discussion with the appraiser, who was receptive to the idea, just simply referring to USPAP and frequently asked question 128 with the concept of market value and appraisers' value conclusions. How a lot of times, if you say this is market value, arm's length transaction, the contract price can be a pretty good indication of the value. And like in this case, she came in below, and I'm looking at a case now where I think the appraiser came in $70,000 below the contract price. It's kind of hard to argue that that's an arm's length transaction and market value if you agree with all the other parts of the definition, but you just don't agree that the buyer who's acting in their best interest and the seller who's acting in their best interest have agreed on a number. But you can disagree with it, but you need to have a lot of support. You need to have some documentation that supports your opinion. So
Okay.
anyway, so that's, I don't know how I got sideways there on that, but the vast majority of the allegations that come in, aside from Fannie Mae, do have to do with the value conclusion. Someone is upset that their value.
So to put it concisely, cases might be filed by a consumer or a lender or a GSE or whatever by the source because they disagree with the value, but that would not be why we in particular are proceeding with a case. It might be a component of why they filed, but in looking at cases, usually when there's that big of a discrepancy in a value, a lot of the time it's because there were USPAP issues in developing that value that makes it not credible. It's not a given, right? So it's not an automatic trigger that, hey, I don't like this value. Okay, we're going to investigate. But it is a primary reason for consumers to file. And unfortunately, in that vetting process, more often than, well, very often, when we're looking at the allegations in the complaint, while we're doing that, we see we're not concerned with whether or not they hit a target value. What we're concerned with is, did they follow the process that is required to develop credible conclusions? And a lot of the time, the two go hand in hand, where the consumer's not happy with the appraisal, and when we look at it, we find process issues potentially that resulted in them not being happy with the appraisal. If that makes sense.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so we're ready to vote on 21-24-82. And my recommendation is dismiss with a letter of counsel.
I move that we vote on case 21-2482 and dismiss with a letter of counsel.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
We'll both second.
Okay, Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3. This is case 25-2638. This case stems from it's an allegation that was submitted by the administrator, and it basically has to do with an appraiser who was issued a final consent order back in March or spring of 2022, I believe, and then failed to meet the terms of that final consent order. Specifically, the CAP program, which is the audit program. He agreed to be in an audit program where he issued reports to us, and he needed to pass a total of at least 3 out of the 6 audits. And he failed to do that, and he failed to listen to the advice that Chad and I gave him repeatedly, the counseling that was given to him about what he needed to do to get these things straight, and he just wasn't interested in doing that. So we're here now, and this one does have some Oregon administrative rules and Oregon revised statutes that we can vote on. Does anybody have any questions before we go to the voting? Okay. So based on my investigation, it looks like potentially Oregon Administrative Rule 161.006.01604.
Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Oregon Revised Statute 674-142.
Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Oregon Revised Statute 674-140-11.
Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
ORS 674-140-13A and B.
Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
That's my presentation for today. Those are the three cases. I've got at least one in the hopper, and we'll see how that goes. I'll be talking to Chad about how we might proceed on that one, and then we'll be ready for the next one. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your volunteering your extra time to come and be on this committee. It makes the process work. We can't do it without you.
Good work, Dan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with
We
that
need a-
said, go ahead.
Oh, do we need a motion to adjourn?
What we do, but we also should probably talk about the September Enforcement Committee meeting that we, generally speaking, that's the first Wednesday of the month that we have historically held that on. But given that it's the 19th of August right now, I know that Dan will probably be wrapping up a case fairly quickly, but do we want to deal with the September EOC meeting? As it stands right now, it's just kind of automatically scheduled for the first Wednesday, but how do we feel about maybe a mid-month, like the 16th or so? I think it would be the following week after so yeah, as of right now, the first Wednesday is the 3rd.
If we continue to push it, then we'll be pushing it every month, right?
This is
So
true.
maybe we just go back. I mean, if Dan's going to have cases for us, I would just say, let's get back on track. Otherwise, we push it to the middle of the month going forward, right?
Every month on into infinity. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. And we do have, let's see, 19th, that's another week. So in terms of the timing, in order for a case to go to the enforcement committee on the 3rd, and in order to give the appraiser the response time that we've consistently allowed folks, we give them 7 and 10 days. So 7 days to provide to request a conference if they want to have a verbal conference with Dan or I or both, and 10 days to provide a written response that we then would forward on to you folks. So if we start at the date of the 3rd, minus 10.
Going to be cutting it to, I would be almost
as
impossible.
of right now, we're probably cutting it very close to have one case to the EOC for the 3rd. We could, if we were to push it to the 10th, that's walking it back slightly from, in terms of, we wouldn't be a month out from today, but it's a little bit more time. And then maybe in October, we can get back to that first Wednesday schedule. If we do a week correction between now and next month, and then between next month and October, that should allow us to get back onto that first Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever works best for you folks.
Okay.
If that's okay. Let's see, as of right now, so this is the 19th. So what do we feel about like a 9th or 10th, September 9th or 10th date?
Those work for me. I'm open on those days. So.
Okay.
As well.
For me.
So that's three yeses for the second week. Okay. Let's do the 10th. That way it's on a Wednesday. That's just kind of the historical Wednesday. It's just off by a week now. Yeah, if that's okay, then we can tentatively say that. I'll get that into the calendar and on the transparency website. But other than that, yeah, I guess I'll open the floor to any other discussion we have or a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
That. Kathy gets out.
Okay, Lori,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. The time now is 9:30 a.m. Well done, everybody. That's 3 cases in 30 minutes. Well, in less than 30 minutes, we convened at 9:14 or something like that. So time now is
Because of
9:30
Dan's good
a.m.
work. Yeah.
and the meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody, very